share Barbara's. That's all right. Hey, Barbara, you have to share your microphone. No, we don't.
It's 7:31 p.m. and this is the Township of Old Bridge Planning Board Reorganization Meeting, agenda for January 29, 2026. To start the meeting, we will salute the flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call the roll, please.
Mr. De Palma?
Here.
Mr. Lenning?
Here.
Mr. Talamo?
Here.
Ms. Cannon? Here. Mr. Renna?
Here.
Mr. Petty?
Here.
Ms. Masella?
Here.
Mr. McIsaac?
Here.
Mr. Brennan absent, Mr. Ferrara absent, and Mr. Lauer.
Here.
We have three members, two, I believe, are here. Mr. Lenning as Class 2 board member, Ms. Cannon as Class 4 board member, and I have the oaths of office. If you could, both of you can do it at the same time, but if you could repeat after me.
There's only a secretary.
I state your name.
I, Casey Lennon,
Barbara Cannon,
Do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of New Jersey,
and the
Constitution of New Jersey,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
and to the governments established in the United States
and to the
the governments established in the United States
and in this state,
and in this state,
under the authority of the people,
under the
the
authority of the people,
and that I will faithfully,
that I will
faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly perform
and justly perform
all the duties of my position of
the
planning
duties
board
all the duties
duties
of my position of the planning board,
planning board
to the best of my ability, so help me God.
to the best of my ability, so help me God.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're going to take nominations now. Is there any nominations for chairperson?
Nominate Ed Lauer.
I'll second.
Mr. De Palma?
Yes.
Mr. Lenning?
Yes.
Mr. Talamo? Ms. Cannon?
Yes.
Mr. Renna?
Yes.
Mr. Petty?
Yes.
Ms. Masella?
Yes.
Mr. McIsaac?
Yes.
And Chairman Lauer.
Yes. Okay. I'd like to nominate Barbara Cannon for vice chair.
I'll second that.
Mr. De Palma?
Yes.
Mr. Lenning?
Yes.
Mr. Talamo?
Yes.
Ms. Cannon?
Oh, yes.
Mr. Renna?
Yes.
Mr. Petty?
Yes.
Ms. Masella?
Yes.
Mr. McIsaac?
Yes.
And Chairman Lauer.
Yes. We need a nomination for secretary.
I nominate Casey Lennon.
I'll second.
Mr. De Palma?
Yes.
Mr. Lenning?
Yes.
Mr. Talamo?
Yes.
Ms. Cannon?
Yes.
Mr. Renna?
Yes.
Mr. Petty?
Yes.
Ms. Masella?
Yes.
Mr. McIsaac?
Yes.
And Chairman Lauer.
Yes. Okay, vice secretary. Daniel,
I know, that's why
nominate Daniel.
tabling the bylaws.
Okay,
Second.
second.
Mr. De Palma?
Yes.
Mr. Lenning?
Yes.
Mr. Talamo?
Yes.
Ms. Cannon?
Yes.
Mr. Renna?
Yes.
Mr. Petty?
Yes.
Ms. Masella?
Yes.
Mr. McIsaac?
Yes.
Chairman Lauer.
Yes. Okay, board attorney nomination is DeFrancisco, Bateman, Kunzman, Davis, Lehrer, and Flaum, PC. Do I have a nomination?
I'll second.
Mr. De Palma?
Yes.
Mr. Lenning?
Yes.
Mr. Talamo?
Yes.
Ms. Cannon?
Yes.
Mr. Renna?
Yes.
Mr. Petty?
Yes.
Ms. Masella?
Yes.
Mr. McIsaac?
Yes.
Chairman Lauer.
Yes. Okay, next, board subcommittees. Master Plan. We have any volunteers?
I want to be a master.
Okay. Barbara? Okay. Eric DePalma? We have one other spot open. Do we have?
I'll take it.
Okay.
I think we need a motion for it.
Okay.
I'll second.
Mr. DePalma?
Yes.
Mr. Lenning?
Yes.
Mr. Talamo?
Yes.
Ms. Cannon?
Yes.
Mr. Renner?
Casey.
Yes.
Mr. Petty?
Yes.
Ms. Masella?
Yes.
Mr. McIsaac?
Yes.
Chairman Lauer?
Yes. Open space, Casey Lenning, you interested? Okay. I nominate Casey. Can we have a,
I'll second.
okay.
Mr. DePalma?
Yes.
Mr. Lenning?
Yes.
Mr. Talamo?
Yes.
Ms. Cannon?
Yes.
Mr. Renner?
Yes.
Mr. Petty?
Yes.
Ms. Masella?
Yes.
Mr. McIsaac?
Yes.
Chairman Lauer?
Yes. Land Development Ordinance, on the list is Barbara Cannon, Eric DePalma, and Keith McIsaac. You still on?
Yeah, I'm fine.
I'll move that.
I'll second.
Mr. DePalma?
Yes.
Mr. Lenning?
Yes.
Mr. Talamo?
Yes.
Ms. Cannon?
Yes.
Mr. Renner?
Yes.
Mr. Petty?
Yes.
Ms. Masella?
Yes.
Mr. McIsaac?
Yes.
And Chairman Lauer?
Yes. Minor Subdivision and Site Plan Committee, Eric DePalma, Keith McIsaac, Edward Lauer, Tina Marcella. Can I get a motion?
I'll move it.
I'll second.
Mr. DePalma?
Yes.
Mr. Lenning?
Yes.
Mr. Talamo?
Yes.
Ms. Cannon?
Yes.
Mr. Renner?
Yes.
Mr. Petty?
Yes.
Ms. Masella?
Yes.
Mr. McIsaac?
Yes.
And Chairman Lauer?
Yes. Okay, next we have planning consultants. We have two candidates, Environmental Resolutions, Inc., Harbor Consultants. Do I have a motion?
I'll move it.
Second,
Chairman, I think we usually take them separately.
separately?
That's my mistake.
That's okay. Okay, first one is Environmental Resolutions, and this is for planning consultants.
Move it.
I'll move it.
Mr. DePalma?
Yes.
Mr. Lenning?
Yes.
Mr. Talamo?
Yes.
Ms. Cannon?
Yes.
Mr. Renner?
Yes.
Mr. Petty?
Yes.
Ms. Masella?
Yes.
Mr. McIsaac?
Yes.
And Chairman Lauer?
Yes. The next planning consultant application is Harbor Consultants. I'll move it.
Second.
Mr. DePalma?
Yes.
Mr. Lenning?
Yes.
Mr. Talamo?
Yes.
Ms. Cannon?
Yes.
Mr. Renner?
Yes.
Mr. Petty?
Yes.
Ms. Masella?
Yes.
Mr. McIsaac?
Yes.
And Chairman Lauer?
Yes. Next, we have engineering consultants. First one is Environmental Resolutions, Inc. Get a
Move it.
motion? Okay. Second,
Mr. DePalma?
Yes.
Mr. Lenning?
Yes.
Mr. Talamo?
Yes.
Ms. Cannon?
Yes.
Mr. Renner?
Yes.
Mr. Petty?
Yes.
Ms. Masella?
Yes.
Mr. McIsaac?
Yes.
Chairman Lauer?
yes. Okay. Go ahead.
Mr. Chairman,
Go
I
ahead.
just would note, I understand that the RFPs, that RFP is still open. Oh, just for the record, I understand that that RFP still remains open, so you can take the vote on the first consultant listed, but the RFP still remains open.
Okay, thank you. Okay, traffic consultants, okay. Environmental Resolutions, Inc., I'll move it.
Mr. DePalma?
Yes.
Mr. Lenning?
Yes.
Mr. Talamo?
Yes.
Ms. Cannon? Mr. Renner?
Yes.
Mr. Petty?
Yes.
Ms. Masella?
Yes.
Mr. McIsaac?
Yes.
Chairman Lauer?
Yes. Traffic consultant, second application is CME Associates.
I'll move it.
Second.
Mr. DePalma?
Yes.
Mr. Lenning?
Yes.
Mr. Talamo?
Yes.
Ms. Cannon?
Yes.
Mr. Renner?
Yes.
Mr. Petty?
Yes.
Ms. Masella?
Yes.
Mr. McIsaac?
Yes.
And Chairman Lauer?
Yes. Forestry consultants, Chestnut AFS.
I'll move it.
Mr. De Palma?
Yes.
Mr. Lenning?
Yes.
Mr. Talamo?
Yes.
Ms. Cannon? Mr. Renner?
Yes.
Mr. Petty?
Yes.
Ms. Masella?
Yes.
Mr. McIsaac?
Yes.
Chairman Lauer?
Yes. Okay. Next item on the list is adoptions of 2026 Planning Board Rules and Regulations. Do we have any changes?
So, Chairman, good evening, board members. I would recommend that the board table these for now to the next meeting, only because the one change that I'm trying to get in is we're eliminating the vice secretary position after speaking to the township attorney and the board attorneys, because since we have full-time employees as secretaries, we really don't need to have two positions, secretary and vice secretary. So I want to make that change in the bylaws, as well as there was an email that was sent out about moving the meeting time to 7 p.m. And I just wanted to discuss it a little more at this meeting, and then, make the change accordingly. So we have a lot of big applications that are coming up in front of the planning board. And what has happened is, it's my observation that some of the meetings, especially when I'm at the zoning board, and now those same applications will be carried or will be heard by the planning board, there's a large amount of residents that want to speak, and we have been in meetings till midnight. On those occasions. So it makes sense for us to start at 7 if it works for everyone, so that we have the 3 hours, which is 10 o'clock. But even if we go a little beyond that, we still can wind up before 10:30, and we are not all here until midnight. So, and the difference is at council meetings, when residents come and make comments, and that's, wait, let me back up. The third change is that we are going to limit residents to comment for no more than 3 minutes, just like the council does, so that everybody gets a chance to speak. The only difference between council meetings and planning board, zoning board meetings are council doesn't have to respond to every resident, but when it comes to planning board, zoning board, the professionals who are questioned have to respond back. So the resident participation period is much longer. So having these changes will enable us to conduct meetings in a timely fashion. And I just wanted to bring those up. I will have those changes in the bylaws at the next meeting, and then we'll ask you to vote on it. But I'll try to circulate the bylaws in advance of the meeting so that you get to read them.
So right now, so Vina, right now, we're just going to table.
Table it, yes.
Okay.
Motion to table.
Mr. De Palma?
Yes.
Mr. Lenning?
Yes.
Mr. Talamo?
Yes.
Ms. Cannon? Mr. Renner?
Yes.
Mr. Petty?
Yes.
Ms. Masella?
Yes.
Mr. McIsaac?
Yes.
And Chairman Lauer?
Yes. Okay, resolutions. First one, 37-2024P, Fox Houses. I believe it's the one off of Route 18. Okay. Can I get a motion to approve that?
I'll make the motion.
Mr. De Palma?
Yes.
Mr. Lenning?
Yes.
Mr. Talamo?
Yes.
Ms. Cannon? Mr. Renner?
Yes.
Mr. Petty?
Yes.
Ms. Masella?
Yes.
Mr. McIsaac?
Yes.
And Chairman Lauer?
Yes. The second resolution, 65-2024P, Hook Mountain Associates LLC, is carried over to the February 26, 26 meeting. Okay, consistency review. Master Plan Consistency Review for Ordinance Amending Old Bridge Township Code, Chapter 250-49, entitled Application of Yard Regulations. Vina, would you like to explain what that's about?
Sure. So the ordinance to 50-49 and 50, both of them actually pertain to accessory structures related to single-family homes or residential zones. What happens is, we have an ordinance in place that allows accessory structures only in the rear yard and the side yard, implying that no accessory structures are permitted in the front yard. Rightfully so. You don't want like a swimming pool in the front yard. Don't want a shed in the front yard. But what the current ordinance does is it overlooks through lots or lots, properties that are located at the corner, because based on the definition, a corner lot has two front yards. So then the property owner is challenged now because he cannot have a pool or a shed or something in his side yard, which is also a front yard. This ordinance makes it easy for those corner lots or through lots. It says that you cannot have an accessory structure in the front yard that the house is facing on, which means the second front yard is where you could still have a pool or a shed. We did the same change when it came to fences last year, but now we are fixing because these accessory structures were not covered by the fence ordinance. So we are trying to fix this. If talking about consistency with master plan, the master plan's overarching goal is to remove inconsistencies in the land development ordinance and make it easier for residents. So this is an attempt to fix that, and I believe that the proposed ordinance is not inconsistent with the master plan. And that's both ordinances. So Ordinance 250-49 is nothing but avoiding redundancy. So we are eliminating that section from 49, but we are including everything in one place in Ordinance 250-50.
Okay, does anybody have any questions about either one of these ordinance? Oh, okay, go ahead.
Thank you first, Rena, for the explanation. 250-50, I think first maybe there may be a spelling correction. In bold under section A, it right now reads one and interior lot. You may intend it to be on an interior lot, just for guidance. You see that word, one? Now, my understanding of the reason why accessory structures were put by side yards was so that they weren't visible from the street. And unfortunately, a corner lot does have two portions of their property that are visible from the street. So I think it's inconsistent with the intent. I think the intent of the accessory structure to be in the rear, it was so it wasn't directly visible from the street. And I think this changes it and then makes it visible. So that's the only thing I would lend to this. I don't believe it's consistent. It's unfortunate that a house on the corner does have two street faces, but they should be placing that accessory structure on the side that is adjacent to another piece of property.
So,
That would be consistent with the original ordinance.
no, but I think the reason why these are policy decisions that come from the council, right? The planning board's job is to just review it, whether it's inconsistent with the master plan. And what I'm trying to say is, it is not inconsistent with the master plan because we're trying to make it easier for residents, especially when residents they're on a corner lot and want to do any accessory structures. There are other ways, and that's why we first fix the fence ordinance, because that's where the screening comes into place. We are now allowing the fences to be in those front yards, which were not permitted before. So you have the screening, and now you're allowing, because most of the corner lots don't have deeper rear yards. if you look at them, because they have two frontages, and generally they're not a perfect rectangle. They are almost like a triangular lot. So this allows them to put it where, also with the first change that we made with the fences, we are now allowing them to screen them as well.
And thank you for that. And listen, I believe the master plan also carries the intent and the best interest of the community. So I will say again that I believe that by putting an accessory structure visible to the street, it almost becomes a detriment, because if it's not maintained, then it decreases the visibility from the street. Your home just doesn't look as pleasing. That's my opinion.
But then you're depriving a homeowner from putting
Well,
in.
not. They have one position where they could place it. That's the way it currently is. I'm only stating my opinion,
No, I get it, but
and I think I'm entitled to state my opinion.
yes,
All right,
and
so that's all. I'd like to then question the second one. 250-49, item F. I want to understand why the adjustment to omit this section. Because this section appears that when it was written, for a house that was a smaller piece of property, you could have a pool and it didn't have to comply with, I'll say, rear or side yard setbacks. But by deleting this section, does that now mean that some homes with pools that are infringing on that area would be in violation? Because this whole section is being struck out, is that correct?
the whole section has been struck out because we're covering pools and underground, above ground and underground pools onto the accessory building structure. We consider them or evaluate them as accessory buildings or structures. So there is duplication, and in the past so many years, we're trying to remove those duplications. We want it to be in one place rather than have it. So it's not taking away from the actual, it doesn't change the meaning. It's covered under this ordinance.
But I don't see the same language carried over.
It doesn't have to be, because accessory buildings and structures are defined by our LDO. So we don't need to be specific about pools and like above ground or in ground. And actually, luckily, our board secretary is also the zoning officer. And actually, in this rare occasion, if you want, Danny, you can chime in if I'm wrong.
My concern was, how does this impact a resident that may have a pool that's infringing on a rear yard setback currently?
It
And
won't.
would they then be
It
in
wouldn't.
violation once the
Wouldn't.
amendment occurs?
No, the language is, the language essentially isn't changing, it's just being removed because right now it's in two different sections. It's in 250 and 250-50 and 250-49, right? So in the grand scheme of things, the setback for a pool is always 6 feet, right? And that's just being moved from 250 to 49 because, like Venus said, a pool is definitionally an accessory building or an accessory structure. So we're moving it to that section of the ordinance just to keep it, just to clean things up.
And I understand it, that's why I'm speaking.
Yeah.
But the mere language isn't being carried over. So I think that the language that's here gives the current resident more protection and more rights compared to the adjusted language. And I'm wondering, is that a detriment or a problem to them?
The only
Or
difference.
could they end up being in violation, essentially?
No,
By
not-
the adjusted language? And that's
No,
the talking point.
the changes in the language would, because right now, if you're on a corner lot, right, and you're looking at a house from the street, and the right side of it is a side street, that's technically a front yard. As the ordinance reads now, you can't have a shed, you can't have a pool. The only structure you can have there by ordinance is a fence, right? So this change allows us, now me, to approve fences, to approve sheds, to approve gazebos, patios, things in that what is a side yard to a homeowner, but a front yard definitionally to the
Exposed
township.
to the streets.
Right. So we're trying to make it easier for residents so that if someone wants to make improvements to their property in that definitionally front yard, right, they don't have to go to the zoning board for approval. There's probably been multiple dozens of applications for pools, sheds in front yards on corner lots. So the language was meant for corner lots only, not for interior lots.
Right.
You know, our basis was, well, if there's a fence there, right? If there's a pool now in a front yard on a corner lot, there has to be a fence. You'd never know that there's a pool there because it's going to be hidden behind the fence. So,
But you'll know if there's a beat-up shed, because now you're gonna see it from the street.
correct.
And that's what this permits now.
This ordinance would permit someone to put a shed, yes,
Correct.
in a front yard on a corner lot.
And I
Yep.
said, but my point was that that's why the original ordinance was written so that they could only be on side yards when you had adjacent property. You could not be on the street side, because from a street, from a visibility standpoint, if you're not maintaining it, you got a beautiful house and a beat-up shed. That's why we didn't permit it. So by changing it, we're now permitting it and introducing that. That's my talking.
So the one more thing I want to add to what Danny said, right? So on every street, there will be a corner house on both ends who is then disadvantaged because they won't be able to put any accessory structure. Because also by definition, front yard is anything beyond a straight line that is drawn along the building line. So when you look at two front yards, they won't have any space to put in. And that line goes to the back. So even their rear yard, to some extent, is compromised now because you're drawing a line along the building line. There's a very tiny corner left for these property owners to put in a pool or a shed. So it's kind of not fair. And this is something, the zoning board annual report has still not been released, but in the last year itself, there were 2 or 3 applications that went in front of the zoning board wherein it's added expense to these residents to go and ask to use their own property just because they're on a corner lot. So in that sense, we are trying to help these residents have a pool. And then the zoning officer or me, we review it. If it triggers a variance or if it is encroaching, it is too close to the front yard line, they will be directed to the zoning board anyways. And at that point, generally when they're defending a C variance, they have to show some positive and negatives, wherein me when I'm reviewing it, or Danny when he's reviewing it, we ask them to add a fence or put in some landscaping. Now, if it's a pool, we're not going to ask them to put a landscaping. It won't make any sense. You would need a fence to really protect and give them privacy.
And I'll say, so in my 6 years on council, we've had quite a number of folks that have come to us that have lived on corners for fences and for all sorts of things. And because the ordinances prohibit that, you can't. I mean, you go into Saywood South, you go to Southwood, you go down into Lawrence Harbor, there's a lot of these types of properties, right? And some of those properties aren't the sizes of other neighborhoods. So you don't have, as Vina was explaining, you don't necessarily have the space to put an accessory structure somewhere, right? If you're on a 50 by 50 lot and both sides of your property that are on the street side are facing the street and are considered front yards, you may only have 15 to 20 square feet in your backyard to put any of this stuff. So these are the things that, as we look at these and as we have conversations with the residents, some of the changes that we have to do, understanding that there's going to be situations where an ugly shed may exist. I would also say that you have folks that have sheds in their backyards, that those same ugly sheds can exist from looking from the street side. So I think we have to weigh some of the good with the bad when it comes to this. I think the change outweighs any of the bad because it does help residents. Because they're going to come up to the zoning board, and more than likely the zoning board's going to give them that variance because it's like more like a common sense type of thing. Yes, we understand that it's, when this was written and how it was written, the times have kind of changed a lot. More folks are in their backyard. They could do more things, right? So we want to make sure that we're more friendly to those residents. And that's really the precipice for these changes, to allow residents to utilize their yards more than they have in the past.
And just to add on to what Eric said, right? Most of these policy decisions are made based on the data that we get. So in the past few years, we have made numerous changes to the land development ordinances to help residents. So when you look at the zoning board applications that come in, the similar type of applications that come in is like an indication where probably we need to revisit the policy. That's how we have been making changes to the fences. We have made changes to the floor area ratio because there are so many homeowners that have to come in front of the zoning board just because they were finishing their basement. You know, the basement is there, finished or unfinished. How does it affect your volume of the building? But they were required to go to the zoning board. So we have been fixing those inconsistencies in the land development ordinance so that we can reduce the number of identical applications that go in front of the zoning board. And this is again, it's consistent with our continued efforts to eliminate such issues with the land development ordinance.
Okay, anyone else have a comment?
Question.
Go ahead.
Danny, are there requirements for the distances sheds need to be off property lines?
Yes.
Yes.
Do you know what they happen to be?
It depends on the zone, but any sheds under or up to 150 square feet is 3 feet. And then anything greater than that depends on the zone. It goes anywhere from 10 feet to 25 feet,
Okay. Are there any height restrictions?
15 feet.
15 feet?
Correct.
Not the interior.
No, no, yeah, yeah.
I only know that
Yeah.
because I had to deal with a specific issue for a resident. It wasn't the inside measurement, it's the outside measurement.
What'd you do, Eric? It's a unique situation because you're potentially putting a shed in somebody's. Sorry, I thought I turned it on. It's a unique situation because you're potentially putting a shed in your neighbor's front yard, even though it's your backyard, but, you know, it is what it is. Would there be something where you could possibly limit the height on those structures if it's in this particular area? Because if you're the neighbor and you walk out, and you have a 15-foot shed next to the front of your house that was never there before. You know, that's what I'm saying. That's pretty tall. You know, I'm not opposed to the shed being there or the fence, definitely, because you're allowing the residents to use it, but then 15 feet's pretty high, so maybe we could look into something like that.
On the neighbor's driveway corner.
If you have a corner lot, the house next to it, you walk out your front door, you could potentially see a 15-foot tall shed.
On the street side.
Well, no, because when you come at it, what Casey's referring
If you
to
have
is
the
when you
corner-
come out of your home,
You're the house next to it, on the side yard.
It's a corner lot, right,
So-
Casey? So you're not really on the other side, you're other side of the street. So imagine, there is a house with a garage on the side. There are many houses that have garage entrances from the side. It's identical to having that type of, because a garage would be 15 feet tall. So it's something we can look at. But again, I think probably it's a policy decision that needs to come from the council. I'll bring it up, and we'll have a discussion with the township attorney on it. Yep.
yeah, I think obviously we there would have to massage some of this when it comes to it. I mean, my neighbor, the way my neighbor is the corner property. I mean, Casey, you know where that is. His backyard faces my side yard, but he is on the corner. So he's around the bend, but he's right there. So I understand where that is. Like, so, and I only from him, he's never put a fence up because of some of these issues, and now I like it the way it is. And plus, he has my fence, so he doesn't have to look at me in the summer. But No, I definitely understand, and I think it's something that we can look at, you know, adding certain restrictions on some of these side yards, you know, with consultation from attorneys and having conversations with the rest of council to make sure that we're not putting a 15-foot high, 20 by 30 shed in there, in someone's, really, in essence, you're building a second house, right? And we just want to make sure that we're consistent. But I know that when we look at these changes, these changes will greatly help the residents that live on those corners, because it does get costly to come to the zoning board. If I want to put up a shed, I'm going to have to pay possibly an attorney and whatever other fees to come up there. It's not fair to them when I could turn around, because I live on an interior lot, I could just put up a shed that's 140 square feet and not even ask permission because it's small enough.
You know, and one thing, like in my design wise, right, in my experience, majority of these side accessory structures, if it's a larger one, are attached to the building. So then they become part of the principal building's footprint. It doesn't become like an true accessory structure, which is separate from the principal building. The issue has come up more often with fences and with pools. So, like, if there was a garage, then it is absorbed into the principal. It's not really segregated or separated as a garage, unless you have a huge piece of lot where you could have a detached garage or you could have a detached shed. This issue comes more when you have the smaller R5s, R7. I mean, R5 is a completely different issue because they have really undersized lots. But the R6, R7 is, you know, they are not too large. They're smaller lots where they need pools. But again, we look into it. I will definitely bring it up in front of the council, but I think overall this ordinance will at least help those corner lot residents to get their pools in, to get their patios in if they want.
No, I agree with that, and, you know, I support that. I just think that, you know, we just need to make sure that we're not allowing somebody to build something that could potentially be an issue for the rest of the neighborhood. So, you know, I want the residents to get their pools and their fences. It's just that, well, like, when you think about, there could potentially be a 15-foot shed in your neighbor's front yard now. So
Right.
I just want to work for everybody.
Mr. Chairman, just in terms of the procedurally, how this got before the board, it is the council that makes the policy decision. They've introduced an ordinance. They've sent it to the planning board pursuant to a section of the municipal land use law, section 26. And before it can be adopted, they're required to send it to the board for the purpose of reviewing as to whether or not it is inconsistent with the master plan. So the determination of this board is whether or not it is inconsistent with the master plan. I think you've heard from the planner, from Vina, that in her opinion, the ordinance is not inconsistent with the master plan. If there were specific inconsistencies, you could point that out or return it to the council with comments regarding those inconsistencies. But that's how it's here. It's not a debate over the ordinance itself or whether it should be modified, added. It's limited to consistency with the master plan. So.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments? Okay, we have to open it up to the public. Seeing no public, we close that.
Get it all out.
Daniel, we have to vote on each one separately? Do you?
I believe so, right, council?
Okay, for the 250-49, do I have a motion?
Move it. I'll second it.
Mr. De Palma?
Yes.
Mr. Lenning?
Yes.
Mr. Talamo?
Yes.
Ms. Cannon?
Yes.
Mr. Renner?
Yes.
Mr. Petty?
Yes.
Ms. Masella?
Yes.
Mr. McIsaac?
Yes.
And Chairman Lauer.
Yes. Okay, and the master plan review for ordinance 250-50. Do I have a motion?
I'll move it.
Second.
Mr. De Palma?
Yes.
Mr. Lenning?
Yes.
Mr. Talamo?
Yes.
Ms. Cannon? Mr. Renner?
No.
Mr. Petty?
Yes.
Ms. Masella?
Yes.
Mr. McIsaac?
Yes.
And Chairman Lauer.
No. Okay, now the master plan consistency review for Raceway Park redevelopment plan. Bina, you're up.
So,
Yeah.
good evening, board members. At the previous meetings, we have had discussions, so you're familiar with the Raceway Park plan, and the plan is in front of the council. It was introduced. It has been referred to the planning board to see if it is consistent with the master plan. There is a recommendation that was included in the master plan that was revised April 28th, 2022, and specifically it talks about large underutilized parcels, including Raceway Park, the former Lowe's site, etc., where it recommend and the Lawrence Harbor area, and it recommends that this area be considered for redevelopment. The plan is consistent with the recommendations, and that is my testimony, that the proposed plan that is in front of the council is consistent with the recommendation of the Master Plan Reexamination Report 2022.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? Barbara, go ahead.
I mean, we haven't done a master plan review. We were supposed to do it a couple of years ago. We haven't done it.
We are
Aren't we
supposed...
way past, aren't we somewhat past the deadline?
No, we haven't. By statutory requirement, we are supposed to do a master plan examination every 10 years. We actually did it in 2017, but there were some things that need to be fixed, so we amended it. The last revision was 2022. So by law, we are not required to do it right now. It's 10 years. We're covered for 10 years. That's where we are. But if there is anything that the Master Plan Review Committee would want us to look at, revisit, or add new recommendations, we can definitely take that up. As it pertains to the Raceway Park plan, though, the recommendation was made in the 2022 re-exam, and the proposed plan is consistent with that recommendation. Barbara, did I
just know that
answer?
We haven't, we haven't had a master plan. We didn't have any meeting last year. I'm not sure, I don't remember the year before. And
Barbara, the reason we haven't had is because last year, and even this year for that matter, is a very crucial year for the affordable housing.
I understand that.
Yeah, so, and that is also part of the master plan. So the housing plan is an element of the township's master plan. And we were state mandated, but we had very stringent deadlines to meet. So last year was, in fact, you should be soon. I just had a conversation with our board attorney, Mr. Sardello. You should be seeing the housing plan soon for adoption, because that kind of also dictates some of the land use changes that will occur, and that we would have to update our master plan accordingly. So I think this is the year we probably will be meeting to go over any of the changes that come in.
So is the plan, as it stands now, is more of a conceptual? I mean, it's not locked in stone, right?
Pardon me?
The plan that we have for the Raceway Park area, that whole piece of land, it can be modified. It doesn't have to be.
No, this is the plan, because the plan has come from the settlement agreement. If you may recall, it was something, so just to fill you in, the Raceway Park, the entire area, there was a proposal to build warehousing because the zoning at that time was SD5. With SD5, it would have allowed up to 3 million square feet of warehousing. And the road infrastructure is not really capable of handling that type of traffic. So the council made a decision and we rezoned it to R120, which is 3-acre minimum zoning. The ordinance was passed. We were sued by the owners. We went to the court. The court remanded us to get into an agreement. Mark Roselli, myself, we have spent almost a year trying to negotiate and settle in. And eventually, August of 2025, the council got into a settlement agreement. This plan is just a mere replication of what was agreed by the council through the settlement agreement. So this plan that is in front of you dictates the number of residential units that will be placed, the amount of commercial that will be included in that area, the type of uses that can go into that area. So the plan dictates what will be allowed. So it's a zoning ordinance for that area.
So that's already set, so we don't have any say in that anymore.
No, it's
So the 600 homes, the warehouses, all that is in place, basically.
yes, and I wouldn't call them warehouses as such because the settlement agreement was crafted such that we don't allow any building to be bigger than 200,000 square feet, and we limit it to like almost like flex space or commercial buildings. That could be a light industrial building. We don't know. But those are the type of uses that are, so you won't see million square feet warehousing or a typical large warehouse. What is permitted is almost like the smallest warehouse that was approved for Segme, which is on Fairway Lane.
So the architecture, the type of houses, all that has been set already.
No.
You said
So,
two-story.
no, so what this plan or the agreement does is it sets the height, it sets the density, because this plan is also helping us address our affordable housing obligation. Because remember, we have an affordable housing obligation of 673 affordable units. So with this Raceway Park plan, the summer site that I'm going to come in front of the council soon, all these are part of our affordable housing plan, and we are just trying to now get the ordinances in place. But for Raceway Park, it was two-sided. It's part of our affordable housing plan because we were already trying to settle in with this property owner. It may so happen then that when the actual design comes up, they may not be able to put 600 units. But the plan is written such that whether they build 400, 500, or 300 units, doesn't matter. They will have to provide for 120 affordable units, because what we care about from this plan is that we get our share of the affordable housing units. So the property owner has not gotten his LOIs, so the wetlands are not mapped. There are areas that are constrained. I did an extensive research on the wetlands, the land use, the development intensities to come up with this plan. So this is the max they can do, but that doesn't mean this is what they will do. They still have to map their constraints.
And there's more than one owner of the property we're talking about.
Yes, probably.
Yeah, so they're all in sync with what's being proposed.
This plan, regardless of who the owner is, includes 8 parcels, and the plan is for those 8 parcels. And that 8 parcels, when I look at it as one whole area, which has now been subdivided, has been zoned into 3 different zones. There is a single family zone, R70, because there's a pond area which can have beautiful single family homes in that area. There is a zone that is identical to our EDO4 zone. It is the EDO4 zone, which allows flex space, it allows retail, it allows commercial activity. And then the last one is the mixed use inclusionary raceway park zone, which is almost towards the Manalapan border and English Town Road, which is the mixed use. And there is ample natural buffers to provide screening, but that's where you will see probably a boulevard created perpendicular to English Town Road where you'll have multifamily houses.
But we don't, do we have a developer?
Nope. This plan will have to be amended eventually to fine tune the design standards because we were in a very tough position. Typically, what happens is there will be a developer, he will have some concept, I review the concept, I suggest, I make recommendations and changes to those concepts. Here, there is no concept. There is just areas marked up, and those areas are nothing but zones. So this ordinance was very tough for me and Mark to even, come up. There has been a lot of like land calculations and a lot of research involved in what we came up with. And again, there was a mediating attorney who was trying to bring us together to come to consensus, and that's when this was created. But again, my understanding is before anything comes in, and we don't even know if what the NAPs really plan to do. I don't know if they'll come up with a site plan next month or we won't see anything for 10 years. We're hoping they would because we want to see our affordable housing units built in. But there is no developer, there is no plan in place.
My apologies to interject. My recollection from the last testimony, was that there was a developer and it was the NAPS. So am I?
NAPs are the owners. They are not the developers. They are not into a development business. And they may choose to be developers. Who knows? They could.
Okay, any more questions and concerns?
Well, could I just ask,
Go
I'm
ahead.
sorry to be, but, so the NAPs own all of that property?
So
There's individual homeowners that came to the meeting to ask about
Right.
it, and they're,
this plan does not address their properties. Though I'm not rezoning their properties. This plan so let me step back. When you heard me testify about the area investigation study, it included 29 parcels, included the parcels that the homeowners own too. This plan is only specific to 8 parcels that are owned by the Knapp brothers, which is the Raceway Park. That's why the plan is called the Raceway Park Plan, because this plan is only for those 8 parcels. The next step would be to then reevaluate other properties and see what can be done. But they're already, most of them are already EDO zone, so they allow for a variety of commercial uses. But that's the next step. We would have to evaluate those properties and then either create an amendment to this plan or create an addendum to add on to this plan for those parcels. But if you look at the plan, if you open up the aerials, it only marks 8 properties out of the 29. And that's why I said the plan is consistent with just the settlement agreement, because the settlement agreement was only for those 8 parcels and not for the 29.
Okay, I have a question, Vina. What happens if we vote no against this tonight?
If you vote no, you're only saying that this plan is not consistent with the master plan, if I'm not mistaken, the council still has the ability to override and affirm this as an ordinance.
Yeah, because there was a couple.
But here's the thing. I mean, and I would have the board attorney chime in. The master plan is crystal clear when it says that you have to look at properties such as Raceway Park and consider redevelopment. So you really can't say that it's inconsistent. It's a policy decision that was already made in the master plan. It's not like I'm saying, oh, the overall goal of the master plan is to do this. No, there is a specific recommendation that pertains to Raceway Park parcel. So for the board to say that it's not consistent is really difficult. And I'm not trying to tell you this is, I had numerous conversations with our township attorney too, because I wanted guidance from him. And I'm speaking from that, and our board attorney can chime in if I am incorrect.
Well, prior to you proceeding, may I ask, when was the Raceway Park added into the master plan?
20
Why would that specific property be included into our master?
It was not just Raceway Park. I read the,
No, I'm asking when was it and why was it introduced?
so it's so here's the thing, right? For the last so many years, like I think I started working for Old Bridge in 2018. So for the last 8 years, what we have done is wherever we saw areas where that could qualify for redevelopment, we have amended the master plan so that the redevelopment agency gets a chance to look at it. The agency then directs me that, Veena, this is the area, maybe you should look at it. When you pick up any redevelopment planning projects, it's important that your master plan also talks about it. So the first step is your master plan, even with the redevelopment planning projects. We went through the entire township to see which areas. So if you notice, the recommendation is not just for Raceway Park. It talks about the Lowe's property that was vacant. Luckily we are having Tesla now come in on that property, but it talked about the Lowe's property that was vacant for almost 10 years. It talks about me pursuing Transit Village designation within where the Old Bridge commuter parking lot is. It talks about Lawrence Harbor, where there are some vacant parcels or there are parcels that qualify for redevelopment. And as a planning principal, as the township planner, my role is to see where in the township can we cite areas where we can potentially encourage growth and where we can preserve growth. So these areas are not going to be a vacant lot that is within a single family residential district. These are going to be areas that really need to be planned well. So most of the, and I made a presentation in front of the council too, when we looked at it, most of these areas were along the highway corridors, like Route 9, Route 35. English Town Road is a big chunk. It's like almost 250-acre property. And we know that some of the businesses there were kind of dwindling down. They were slowing down. They have come up in the past to ask us, can we have auction use here? Now, auction use means that there will be a lot more people coming in for the auction. And I had determined that no, an auction use would add on to the traffic. And there was a lot of back and forth between their planner, our planner. So before they could come up with a plan for a warehouse, because they were in negotiations with a developer who wanted to put in 3 million square feet of warehouse, we thought it was best for us to take charge and plan as to what we really think is suitable for the township. So, and that's the role of the master plan, right? Like Barbara said, when are we redoing our master plan? These recommendations were added as part of our ongoing investigation of vacant parcels. Now that we have a housing plan in place, probably it will be again time to look at our plans, because there are still properties that are vacant and that have potential to be developed. There are some parcels that are vacant that are right now qualified as Q farms, and they could potentially, because when we were working on a housing plan, we had 8 objectors. There were 8 developers that were objecting our plan. But our plan was so solid that we could actually push away most of these objectors, because otherwise we would end up having many more developments.
I think maybe you're just missing my question here or the point. And I'll say that part of what we're doing here from a community standpoint, and one of our objectives was to make Old Bridge an attractive, a destination location. And Raceway Park has been a staple in this community for, I'll say, over 50 years. One of the reasons I moved to Old Bridge. And now, in hindsight, I'm saying, why did we elect to look at that property and deem it in need for redevelopment? Because that's what put us in this position where we are right now. I was under the understanding it was the Naps that wanted to redevelop the whole time, but it really wasn't. It was someone else that could have developed warehouses, so to block them, we got ahead of it.
So in 2022, when some of this stuff was added, it wasn't so much, it was a lot of emptier land and land that we knew that the owners wanted to develop. Whether they wanted it to develop themselves or be part of the development or sell, but ultimately the usage of the land as it was at that time, whenever that was, they deemed themselves, and I know from Raceway Park, is it's not advantageous. We don't want to run the raceway any longer. Things like that would have come up. Conversations would have happened with the prior administration under Senator Henry. So some of those conversations would have happened, and that's why they would have been added into this stuff. Like with Lowe's, obviously, right? But it's properties like that whether or not the folks that own Lowe's and that corporation or Raceway Park, when we look at those, are there pieces of properties and large pieces of property within the township that we deem, by putting it in an area of redevelopment, would revitalize that area or revitalize that property? So, for instance, with Raceway Park, 3/4 of it, if I'm not mistaken, is not even used for the most part. So when we look at it, we say, okay, it's not that we're forcing you to do it, right? We're saying that by adding your property to a redevelopment zone, we're giving you the opportunity to work with us and develop it the way that it would best fit that portion of town. Now, with the proposal at the time that they wanted to put the X number of million square feet of warehousing, we all knew the second that came up, Texas Road, Englishtown Road will not handle those types of trucks. So that's what they were looking to do, right? And then obviously the longer story of all that happened, if you want to know, I could tell you offline, of how it was rezoned by us rezoning that prohibited the usage for the warehouse, which then prompted the Knapp family to take the township to litigation. Based off of the litigation, that property, or they've decided that the best use for that property and, highest and best use would be what the redevelopment zone would be.
So my understanding, and from speaking to the operators of Raceway Park, is they want to continue to operate as they currently are. So let's pause there for a second. The testimony from one of the last hearings, a homeowner came up and complained about the noise and the sounds relative to cars racing and she didn't live directly on the property. How would we take a portion of that property where we still have a racetrack ongoing and introduce residential homes directly adjacent to the racetrack? It doesn't make any sense.
Well, I think that as the property is developed, that raceway would probably cease existing.
But they don't want to cease their operations.
Well, right now, because of the use of business, right? If they cease any operations today, they more or less go from a revenue source to no revenue.
And can I also suggest explain something? Because if you look at the redevelopment plan, right, the residential area that is being mapped out, or the zone that has been created, is separate or is away from where the racetracks are. And I'll tell you, the first problem, even before there was a developer interested in putting the 3 million, right? We were getting constant requests from Raceway Park to expand the IAAI, the long-term storage place. Now, the issue with that use has been, and I've been fighting ever since I came on board, because they wanted to keep expanding the area. The one thing that happened, and this is way before my time, Raceway Park kept coming to the planning board on the pretext that they want to do a concept plan review with the planning board. Miraculously, there were resolutions of approval. Now, if I have to go back and challenge, those meetings were concept meetings that were never noticed. So there is a question on the validity of those zones too. But there was a constant fight with them wanting to expand the long-term storage. Just 3 weeks ago, there was a fire there, and there were like 14 cars on fire, because what was happening is they were just stacking up cars where the emergency services can't even reach. So we thought, if we have a plan in place, like an overlay zone, so that we can curb that type of use, because English Town Road cannot handle that traffic. There are trailers with cars. There was an image that was posted, and if you go, actually that image is available on Google. If you do street views, there is a trailer that is stuck at the intersection of Texas Road and English Town Road. They can't make the turn. Now imagine adding more of that long-term storage. So the idea was, okay, let's come up with a plan so that we can curb the type of uses that are going in, so that it's in our control. And the best we thought is, okay, the surrounding properties are mostly Woodhaven, Village Estate 2, or the older Woodhaven sections. So let's rezone. There's an airport which is going to remain. So let's rezone it to 3-acre zoning. And we got challenged. So then when it comes from the code and we are mandated to work with the property owner, we have to work with that, right? So then when we were creating land use plans, the current uses still will be permitted. They still wanted the motorsport facility to be one of the permitted uses. IAAI, they have a long-term lease, a 100-year lease. So even if we don't want them, we can't push them out. It was a use permitted by the planning board. They are there. But with this plan, we are now trying to contain that area, that they cannot expand and take up the entire Raceway Park property. So the residential area is separate and closer. Like I said, there are some constraints on the property which provide natural buffers. So when the concept was created, it was not like, oh, you can have residential here next to a flex space, or you can have residential next to the motorsports facilities. We planned it such that single family homes are allowed along John Wall Road or where the pond is. The mixed use is more on the county road. The flex space that is allowed is more on the central part where you don't have as many homes. So there was a lot of thought that went into it, and I think this is the best what we could do, given that it was a mandate that came from the court. And we'll have to see. I am pretty certain that the plan will have to be amended in future, because I can't predict how the design is going to be or how the buildings are going to look at. So I would want to have another bite at the apple at some point.
Okay, any other questions from over here? Well, my question is that if we if we approve this, then we're saying that the zone that you drafted up, the zones, the flex zone MUIH zone, and the EDO4 and the R7, if we approve this, then that's in stone, it's a done deal?
Yes.
Okay, so.
And
if-
that
if-
zones, I'm sorry, but those zones were already laid out in the settlement agreement that was signed by the council. So the zone is already kind of in place.
So as a planning board, if we see something we don't like, we're stuck with it? Is that what you're telling?
Your role as the planning board on an ordinance such as a redevelopment plan, because a redevelopment plan is an ordinance. Your role as the planning board is to only see if the plan or the recommendations, the redevelopment plan introduction is consistent with the master plan. So that's where it is. If there are some questions, concerns, I mean, Eric is the representative for the
So,
council.
To answer the question, at least, and either our attorney or Vina stop me if I'm incorrect. Zoning, we've never played a part in zoning. We're not the zoning board. From a planning perspective, when they come to us with the plan, we have the same powers as we do if any other application, to sit there, review them, ensure that they're consistent, right? So they can't just come in and dump something on us, like we've had multiple that we've sent back and they've had to revise the plans, right, based off our recommendations. We will always have that power. This board, regardless of who sits up here, what council person sits up here, what planner, what attorneys, what volunteers, will always continue to have the same power over an application, whether it's a redevelopment zone or not, right? We don't sit here and say you can't build it because it's not zoned correctly. They have to go to the zoning board first before they come to us to have something rezoned. So we'll always retain that power. Like that redevelopment plan's not gonna say it needs to be, 25 feet off the property line and, whatever, right? Those things will still have that power to, one, question and one, to request, as we do any other application.
Well, the reason I asked is because the MUIH zone, okay, that flex zone you want to call, that's over Alfieri's site. And you know what we got out of that site, right?
You gotta bring that up, it hurts right here.
Yeah, I know. So that's the Alfieri. And another thing that concerns me is that the zone,
So
But, the Alfieri site's a good example, right? So they came to us and they wanted to do things that we didn't agree with, right? We sent them away, they came back with something that was more palatable for what we needed to do based off of the legal settlements and things that we had, right? So that's actually a great example, Mr. Lauer, and the fact that they came to us with something, even though they could have done that. When we looked at that, we were like, absolutely not. We're not going to segregate a building over here that you had to drive out of Middlesex County into Monmouth County and around to use amenities.
And putting all the low-income people in one area.
Yeah, so we were able to do that. We still have that ability. This board has that power.
okay, because, and another thing that bothers me, the R7 zone. All the developments on Englishtown Road are R20. You know, you're going from, if you talk about consistency, R7 is much different than R20.
So no, Mr. Lauer, the R7 zone is along John Wall Road,
Yeah, I know where it's at.
right?
Yeah.
So across the street from that on John Wall Road is all Woodhaven,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Those are actually R7, R6. They are permitted as R7, R6. So
I looked at the zoning map and I thought Woodhaven,
zoning map does not show Woodhaven's GDP.
Oh,
The zoning map does
oh,
not
okay.
show. So it does not. And what we have done is we wanted we wanted to take advantage of the pond. We wanted to take advantage of what is on the other side of John Ball Road, which is all Woodhaven. Woodhaven single family homes were zoned, it was part of a GDP, but those lot sizes are consistent with R6, R7. They're not R20. So we had that specific only on John Ball Road. You will not see R7 on actual English Town Road or where Pension Road is, you know? So,
So Woodhaven's going to come through with more development in smaller zones.
yes, the
Okay,
GDP
but you
was
would
already
never know
approved.
that by looking at the zoning map.
You wouldn't, because, and that is one of the flaws, right, that I have been fixing, because, I'm so sorry. When I came in front of the board with Oaks 1, you recall when Edgewood Properties came in front of the planning board recently for approvals, right? What happened before that? It was part of a GDP. I went and I fixed the zoning first before they came in, because the old GDP was approved based on old planning principles, wherein, you know, the buildings were more like the quadruplexes, not the townhouse style buildings. So we wrote an ordinance, we wrote a zone for it, and then they came in front of the planning board so that it's consistent. The problem with GDPs are that GDPs, these two GDPs that Old Bridge has, one is Oaks 1 and the other is Woodhaven, they were written 30 years ago. And there is only a map that shows the bulk standards. There is no ordinance, and that's where it is flawed, because even if the GDP was approved by the planning board, it should have been reflected in the zoning ordinance on the zoning map. It makes it so difficult because there are almost 30 cluster zones in Old Bridge. And if you look at the zoning map, you'll see R20, R15, but those lots were approved by the planning board for R7 because they took advantage of alternate design standards and they were all designed for R7. So if you look at the aerial imagery and you look at the lot sizes, you'll get an idea, but not the zoning map as such.
Okay, thank you for that. I'm just hoping that this new flex zone between Pension and Englishtown doesn't turn into the site, the Alferry situation. Okay,
Can I say something?
go ahead.
So I think everybody's very passionate about this particular property. I have fond childhood memories of going to Raceway Park, you know, the Night of Thrills and all that kind of stuff. But the owner decided not to do that anymore. And it's their property, they have a right to develop it. And through the courts, a plan has been developed. So now it's our job to make sure it's consistent, which you testified that it is consistent. So that's what we're really looking at tonight, not what might come, you know. I just wanted to clarify that. Thank you.
So you're saying they're going to continue to use Raceway Park?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's,
Okay, so it may be,
We actually gave them their yearly permit at the last council meeting.
okay. So are they looking, I mean, do we know, are they looking to sell off parts of their property?
they are just looking at some sort of protection so that the township doesn't come and rezone it to, or like single family.
I don't think we should have any conjecture on what a property
Yeah.
owner is going to do with their property. In my opinion, whether they want to develop it today, tomorrow, 15
We
years
don't
from
know.
now, we don't know. And I don't. I think I'm playing the part of an attorney. I'm trying to. We don't know what is in the mind of. They may have an idea today and then decide tomorrow not to do it. But what this is just giving them the guardrails of the agreement between themselves and the town of what could potentially go there at any given time. But as far as I know, they're going to continue to operate as they operated yesterday until they decide not to.
So, I mean, it could be 20 years from now if they decide that they,
Like the Vernetti property, like up and down Route 9, that GDP was 20 some odd years old before they even put a shovel in the ground. So this could be well into, I could be retired and out of the township by then. We don't know, or it could happen tomorrow.
Yeah.
I mean, by putting these in places, just like a zoning, you could buy a piece of property and sit on it for 15 years and then decide to build.
Okay. If we have no more comments, I'll open up to the public. Seeing no hands, I'll close the public. So do we have a motion on the
Can I
mess?
just ask one more question? I hate to be a pain, but I've been here a long time. I'm not going to be here much longer. And I was here when the Brunetti whole thing, you know, we went through a lot of things with him and a lot of proposals, and most of which didn't really come to fruition the way we thought they were going to come through. So I just wonder, you know, how locked in are we? I mean, if we agree to this, then if he just sits on this land for another 10 or 15 years, that the same plan, he could then start working on this, utilizing this plan that's put in place, you know, at
He
this
could.
point.
He could.
Yeah.
He could. At this point, we really don't know. It's not like a typical, situation where we knew that, okay, today I'm going in with a redevelopment plan, the council approves it, and, next month there's an application filed. I wish it was that way, only because then it would give me more room to review it and be more stricter on the design guidelines or, regulations that I'm adding. But this was more like, we literally started with a bubble diagram, and then we were like, okay, what uses can be permitted? And then we started evaluating the land for constraints. So maybe nothing happens for next 15 years, and he comes in after 15 years with the same plan. And probably at that time, just like we did Oaks, we might have to revisit it and tighten it up at the site plan level.
Yeah, because everything,
Because again, see, look at this plan, right? There's language in there that says any roadway improvements, any infrastructure improvements have to be determined at a later stage between the county, because Englishtown Road is a county road, right? I cannot, unlike the plans that I wrote in the past where it was local roads, where we did segments, right? I said, oh, this road needs to be improved, this needs to be connected. I can't do that with this one because it's a county road. So there has to be, whenever they're ready with a plan, there will have to be significant input that would have to come from our township engineer, from the county, because the roadway is theirs. It is going to impact Texas Road, which is a county road. It is going to impact Englishtown Road, which is a county road. All we have is Pension Road, which is local.
so if he doesn't do anything for 20 years, then this same concept would then be implemented, I mean, is there any wiggle room to modify things, to update things, or is it we're just locked in, period?
I mean, I would think that in 15, 20 years from now, if they were then to decide to develop, they could probably approach the township to amend the redevelopment zone by going through the redevelopment agency, or look to do it. I mean, Barbara, I wish I could look 15 years in the future.
Well, I mean, because I went through this
I
with
wish I knew
Brunetti.
15
I mean,
days ago.
Brunetti had all sorts of plans, and
No, but I think, like,
You know.
just like the changes that we did to Mr. Brunetti's property at the Oaks and things like that, where they were initially garden apartments, I believe.
Right. They
Right.
were not
Those-
garden apartments, sorry. They were a mix of garden apartments and quadruplexes.
so then
And nobody
that's-
builds quadruplexes anymore.
Yeah, so as times change and as styles change, right? I mean, the debate I have with my mother-in-law all the time, why she won't redo her kitchen, because I don't know if I'm gonna like it in 10 years. Well, the time now is to do what you have, and then 10 years from now, we could address it. I think that should they come back and want to change, whether that plan, the zone, or maybe just the mix in the way that things look, that's something that they would engage the township, the planning board, the zoning board, the redevelopment agency, or whomever else at that time.
See, the classic example is Edgewood, right? Like I said before, the style they had, nobody builds those type of houses anymore. Do we really want garden apartments anymore? No, we don't build them anymore.
Yeah.
So, and the problem with those quadruplexes and garden apartments, if you recall, I had said they are more spread out. So now you have lesser open space. I would rather want them, if it is multifamily that was approved for them, that's the use that was approved, I would rather want them to go 3-story or 4-story and give us more open space, give us more amenity, right? Same thing with the townhouses. Instead of seeing quadruplexes, like 4 units, so that now you have 4 garages, more roadway. I would want to see a cluster of 8, which is now more typical, right? So that I get a dog park. And that's how we negotiated with Edgewood. We said, okay, we'll write an ordinance so that it meets up to the current standards, but give us more amenities. Give us a basketball court, give us pickleball courts, give us dog parks, and add more pedestrian connectivity, give us more open space. So probably if it doesn't happen in 15 years, they might want to come back to us and say, okay, we approve this, but now things have changed. We want to work with the township and amend the plan.
I think that when I look back over the past 7 years plus, just that snapshot in time, every time we've had an area in need of redevelopment, there was an application right behind it. So I don't think we're looking at 15 years. I believe there's something in the works already, and it'll be on the table relatively soon.
If I could say, Vina put a lot of work into this, searching every property in Old Bridge because of the state mandates on the affordable housing. So, where are you going to put it? When we have to put it in somewhere, Vina went out and found spots where we could do that. That's not up to us. Some of the public might think that we're doing this out of our own fruition. The state mandated us to put affordable housing in. We have to find spaces to put them. So there was a lot of work that went into this, and rezoning that, where you can't put one in between my house and Tina's house. You got to find space to put them. So that's a draconian thing that's going on that we have to submit to, basically. So.
I see both sides because they've been around for so long that I remember with Olivia in York and, with, we went through a lot with them, and then they ended up selling the property and things changed and stuff. I just, I guess having seen what's happened over the 40, 50 years I've been here, that it just makes me sad to think that, it's being developed in a way that I'm not real excited about. I don't like warehouses. I'm not, and that we don't have more say, because we've talked about putting a library at that end of the township. That might be an area that would be good to put a library facility. And the township just doesn't, we're sort of always reacting instead of being active. Or, we are acting, but a lot of it's being mandated either through the state or by the seller of the land, or, that we do have restrictions. We don't have free reign to do our little utopia that we would like.
Barbara, just to mention one more thing, right? When there is a redevelopment plan, the township or the township council gets one more chance through the redevelopers agreement. Because typically, when there is a redevelopment plan, there could be an ask for a pilot. There will be a redevelopers agreement wherein we get to work on some of these things, or like stuff like infrastructure improvement, stuff like what you mentioned, community facilities. Those can be worked out during the redevelopers agreement stage. Because remember, with all the plans that we did in the past 5-6 years, we always had a redevelopers agreement. There was always a condition put on the site plan approvals that the approval is subject to the applicant entering a redevelopers agreement, which is again voted and reviewed by the council and the township attorney.
Okay,
Last bite,
Go
I
ahead.
promise. The town was proactive. They changed the zone to 3-acre, single-family homes. Then the property owner took the town to court, and this is what the court decided, right? So we tried. We want that nice big house and a nice 3-acre property, and, you know, it just wasn't in the cards.
okay, are we all through? So, again, do I have a motion?
I'll move it.
I'll second.
Mr. De Palma?
Yes.
Mr. Lenning?
Yes.
Mr. Talama?
Yes.
Ms. Cannon? No. Mr. Renner?
No.
Mr. Petty?
Yes.
Ms. Masella? Mr. McIsaac?
Yes.
Chairman Lauer?
No. Okay. Okay, next on the agenda, minutes for November 13th, 2025. I need a motion, please.
Move it.
Second.
Mr. De Palma?
Yes.
Mr. Lenning?
Yes.
Mr. Talama?
Yes.
Ms. Cannon? Mr. Renner?
Yes.
Mr. Petty?
Yes.
Ms. Masella? Yes. Mr. McIsaac?
Yes.
Chairman Lauer?
Yes. Okay, minutes of December 11th, 2025. I'll move it.
Second.
Mr. De Palma?
Yes.
Mr. Lenning?
Yes.
Mr. Talama?
Yes.
Ms. Cannon? Mr. Renner?
Yes.
Mr. Petty?
Yes.
Ms. Masella? Yes. Mr. McIsaac?
Yes.
And Chairman Lauer?
Yes. Okay, general public comments. I'd like the board, thank the board members for making me chairman again. Thank you. And congratulations, Barbara, as vice chair. Wait, I'm still making comments. And-
We have one person.
I know. And congratulations to your firm. Okay. Okay, next, we got to open it up to the public. Seeing no hands again, close the public. I need a motion to adjourn.
Move it.
Move it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.